That's the stuff. That's the stuff we can go with, which is weird. I will say one thing. I don't know if I've ever started one of these. I was about to say, normally, if I ever start one of these things, someone's already commented. So I was kind of curious as to the fact if I was looking around going, is anyone going to even show up? I mean, I guess all the other guys, they're going to show up randomly throughout. And there's a good chance, I'm going to text Matt. Not that Matt. I'm going to see what he's doing. I don't know if we can get too many people on, but it's going to be funny if we do. What are y'all doing today?
I'm literally just hanging out. I mean, all my stuff's already rigged. Not much is going to change for tomorrow. So literally just hanging out.
A lot of guys go fishing on these off days. I don't think I've ever done it. That's funny. Someone was like, "Where's Stefan?" That's who I'm calling.
The only time I went fishing on the off days when we got canceled at Leech. We went to Woman Lake and caught a bunch of big smallmouth. That's pretty cool. But everywhere's too far from down here on the south end of Rayburn.
Well, yeah, someone called, a buddy of mine called and asked if there's a place, and I sent him to one of our lakes.
I thought about it, but I don't want to tell anyone about it.
I was like, man, here it is. You can go over here. So but I mean, it's still not going to be. I mean, they'll catch them, but is it blowing? Yes. I don't even want to know if I want to get into the whole blowing thing yet. The wind thing, because everyone, I want to see what Ish has to say, and I will say this way: I don't know how many phone calls I had today.
I bet it's been a bunch.
But man, it was like you were one of the first, because I was waiting. It was around 7. So I had meetings today with Strike King. It's like 7:30. When did you text me?
Let me look. I mean, it wasn't like early. I texted you at 7:40. Said cancel.
Yeah, so I was shocked because I figured you would have texted earlier than that, and I'm like, well, they let him go.
No, so I was boat 10, and at 6:50 I was parked next to the dock, and I backed up getting ready to stage because nobody said anything. And Hank got in a boat at like 6:53, if I remember looking at my graph, and he rode around for like 30 minutes. It was a long time he was out there. Like we were going to be delayed 30, 40 minutes anyways. But yeah, they rode around for a long time. You can see him out there.
I didn't even realize. I was wondering about this right here. This is how bad this is. Did you know the MLF was going on?
No, I had no idea until obviously today. I opened Facebook and saw it was going on. I saw a video of, I think, Chris Lane catching like a 5 or 6 pounder. That's how I knew it was going on.
I didn't know it until like right now, because I was like, why are they talking about MLF stuff right now? I'm being dead serious.
That's kind of disappointing. I mean, I thought everybody knew
that. Yeah, I had no idea. I'm looking at. See, I hadn't even. Where are they at? Harris Chain. You see, look. What? So I'll get to some of these.
That cracks me up.
Huh? So listen, Hackney. I almost freaking called up Hackney and like let him have it the other day because he was on with Duncan, and I've asked, like, he's like, hey, how come I haven't been on your show? I'm like, you haven't been on. It's not my fault you haven't been on. Like, and then I was like, all right. So I invited him the other day, and then like one time he like forgot, and then he's like, I got something else to do or something. I'm like, well, see, like it's on. I'm not gonna ask you too many times. I'll get him on eventually. I thought about getting him on before. Let me think about this. I'll figure out how to get him on here in a little bit. So what are the, see, I don't really know. I don't really know what's going on today. I don't know.
Oh man.
I had a Zona on like a couple months ago. So he came on. Man, you know, I'm just a nobody over here with a freaking not even a true, like I don't even have a name for the podcast or like a name. Like we just go live. Look at this clown.
Entertainment.
I don't know why everybody's making fun of me.
No one's made fun of you yet.
Oh, it's coming. I know it's coming.
Hey, you just make it easy.
Are you driving in your truck and you're going to lose service?
No, I'm not. I'm actually in a section where I should be okay for at least like 25 or 30 minutes.
This is the best you've ever sounded on live. Usually your service is horrible.
No, my service isn't horrible. I can hear you just fine.
It's because he's driving an electric vehicle. Oh wait, that's a Toyota. Sorry.
I'm driving to Lufkin, so usually that drive is fairly good until I get to like, I don't know, about halfway.
Hey, they want to know, are you looking forward to the NTF? Well, before you answer this, did you even know MLF was going on today?
Yeah, I saw it yesterday. That's the only reason I knew is because yesterday I saw that they were, I don't remember if it was like Wheeler or somebody posted something on Instagram, and that's the only reason I knew.
Well, and I'm not dogging it. I'm just saying, like, so that first morning at Monroe, I had like 20 phone calls, right? Everyone was texting me. And then today I had all the phone calls and text messages, but it was all from tons of people about the Bass deal. Not one single message about MLF. And
when does it start? Is it tomorrow or today?
It said something about stage 2. No, they're going right now.
They're going right now.
Oh.
Oh, stage 2. Does that mean it's like
that's tournament 2? No, it's a tournament, second tournament. They just call it like just to keep up with it, I guess.
Whatever, I guess.
Like tournament number 2.
We're in stage 0 of the Open, and we only have one stage.
I haven't even hit a stage on the NPFL yet, so you know.
There's a guy catching him right now who I would not have suspected at the leaderboard.
Who's that?
Wheeler.
Oh yeah.
That was a joke.
I say that I knew they were going on today because I saw him post something about Bobby Lane catching a big one and Chris Lane catching a big one. I was like, oh, there's no surprise there. And they were flipping pads.
Here's what I love. This is what I love. And they can get mad at me all they want to. Jacob Wheeler has an 8-pounder, right? So that's cool. But Wheeler's last fish, 113. Michael Neal's last fish, 111. Andy Morgan's last fish, 108. Mark Davis, 111.
See, I think I would do really good in Florida fishing that event because I was really solid at catching like 1.5-pounders the whole time. So
their last fish, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 41. 41 of the, how many guys? 41 of the 66 fishermen, their last fish was in the 1-pound range.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, Florida's full of 1-pound fish, though.
I know. I'm just saying that, like, I understand we catch 1-pounders. I just didn't think we should count them. Like, you know, don't shake your head.
I mean, I think they should count them.
Okay, I'm gonna start calling Andrew the 1 pound. Andrew's the 1-pound fish.
The only reason I say that is because if I was fishing in Florida right now, I'm really good at 1-pounders, so it would play to my advantage because I'd be kicking your butt trying to catch a 6-pounder where I caught like 14 1-pounders already. So
so Jacob has 32 pounds, best 5. That's awesome, and I think that's what he should have. 32 pounds. Like if he should have 32 pounds for 5 fish.
But it's not. You're thinking from a traditional tournament.
No, I'm thinking of there's your service.
Standpoint.
No, I'm not. I'm thinking of what everyone in the country does.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's right.
Huh?
That doesn't mean it's right just because that's what everybody thinks that's how it should go.
Well, apparently a lot of people think that way too.
I'm just messing with Todd.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to agree with everything you say just because it's your show.
The No Name Show.
Did I freeze up?
You did freeze up a little bit in there. And it was great too.
I'm just not going to agree with you all the time.
That was great because a lot of people didn't want to listen to what you were saying anyway, so it helped out. I didn't have to mute you.
That's not necessarily true. I think they saw through my sarcasm, and you didn't.
I think guys like they say Wheeler's going without intentionally. Well, I mean, I guess he should. He's the one guy that I never was worried about catching him with or without. He was never going to be the guy. But I mean, it's kind of like one of those deals where Mark Davis, and I think who else? I think some of the other guys never turn it on at the Conroe event on purpose, I think, too. Which I think is I think this is a smart play to a degree, because
I mean, it would confuse me if I had to turn it on all the time and then turn it back off, and it just would be it kind of screw up my game plan.
Man, so do you know how I don't know if people realize this is going on, and listen, this is just private conversations between people, but there hasn't been a single tournament in the past couple months where a guy doesn't realize, he's like, man, I probably would have finished second in this event if LiveScope wasn't around, or hey, I would have done this. That's going on. I don't know if people realize that that's a thing going on constantly. So I could see Wheeler being yeah, I'm not going to turn it on, just to be I think that happened at Conroe. Hey, I can still catch him without it. That's how some of the guys were.
Oh yeah, but I mean, you also saw how their tournament kind of petered out, like any other tournament would if you didn't turn it on.
Right.
You wouldn't catch as many, and then by the time it got there, then it is what it is. Well, hello, Ish. Did you wake up from your nap?
Yes, I did. That's why I said sleepy-ish. I was napping. Everybody's blowing up my phone. Got nothing else to do. You know, catch up on some sleep. It's happened when you get older. When you're that grizzled veteran on tour. You youngsters don't need as much sleep.
There's only one youngster here. That's Blake.
Yeah, no doubt. Blake's a whopping 21 years old. Pro scoper over there.
Yeah, I know.
He's not like his old fishing partner who was definitely an old man. But you're close, Blake. You're not exactly
I'm like the
He's not a chicken tender. He's not a chicken tender.
He's not a chicken tender. He's young.
He's also not the old gristled up last piece of fried chicken like Ish is either, though. So.
Yes, I am. Wow, Andrew. Thanks, man. Andrew's throwing blows.
They were asking if we're going to do the Open Pros picking this year.
I think we're doing it on Sunday. We were going to do it today, but Pangrak's fishing.
Panger he needs all the help he can get anyway, so let him go fishing.
I realized that I'm going to be in Dallas Sunday, so
you're going to get to do it from Dallas.
Well, I didn't say I couldn't. I just said I just realized that I'm going to be at a soccer tournament. So,
well, I might not be able to do it on Sunday. If we fish on Saturday, I'll be flying on Sunday.
Well, you're going to have to do it from the airport, big homie.
Are y'all fishing on Saturday?
I don't know. It's all depends on what the weather does. I mean, if it blows 20, we're obviously not. But, who knows?
This is probably, y'all literally hit Rayburn at the worst week of fronts and post fronts as you could ever hit. It's unreal.
Yeah. I mean, last weekend would have been phenomenal, but it's just the way the schedule goes.
Yep. I mean, I talked to Hank about it, and I was like, he's like, are you really surprised? There's an open in town. Of course the weather's going to be atrocious. I said, yeah.
Exactly. That's a given. That's a given.
February too down here. I don't know. Everyone thinks we're down in the south, and yes, our lakes aren't frozen, But this is what it's like all the time.
It's still
down here.
February. It's still February, right? It's still February.
It blows and it's cold all the time. I always laugh at people who are like, let's go down to Texas. I'm like, come on down here. It ain't always.
You're rolling the dice is all you're doing.
100%.
So.
Hey.
Well, we don't want to talk about Rayburn too terribly much. What is that?
Wow.
Killing them. He
hasn't caught a bass in the third, and says pitching in old style fishing is like watching paint dry.
That's what happens when you go that's for guys that don't know how to flip.
Right, exactly. Drew needs to realize that they just posted, Bassmaster just posted a 1985 Sam Rayburn tournament. And a whole lot more people watched that event than they did this event with guys using. So Drew needs to, that dude, he's a good fisherman. Without live scope, he's nobody. And I will say that.
He's a good scoper. He's a good scoper. Yes, rephrase that. He's a good scoper. But once again, there will be an equalization of this at some point in time when every single boat in the country has it, And when it does, and hey, how about this? The guy can win tournaments, but he ain't making any money for sponsorships. And we know how long till the next good scoper comes along and starts beating him, and the next good scoper after that, and the next good scoper after that. This is the one thing. So like we get a lot of young guys and people come through Rayburn and they get hot. Blake's heard this 1,000 times from me. And people get hot on Rayburn for a year or two, and they're like, man, this guy's got it. And I'm like, we'll see in about 5 years. And I always say that because there's been some guys around Rayburn that have been there for 20-something years. And are they as dominant as they once were? No, but I mean, they can catch them. And I always say, like, that's a good fisherman. I was like, because he's figured out how to be relevant for the last 20 years.
Yes.
It's tough.
Yes.
And I said, the one thing is everything I've ever seen on Rayburn changes. Now, you can be like, well, what's, like a lot of times I'm talking about the actual lake and how it changes, but in fishing, it's changed. And I was like, if y'all think live scope's going to look like this in 5 years, you're crazy. Whether they get it, whether new technology comes, whatever it is, it's going to change. So like a lot of these young guys that think, oh, I've got it figured out, they'll have it figured out until it changes again on them, and then they'll look up and I'm just saying I always tell them anything can happen. You never know. Like, every single state organization in 2 years could ban this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm just saying
it's gonna happen, right? And once again, I get it. I use it. You use it. All four of us use it. It's a tool. It's a great tool to help catch fish. But like you say, things are going to change. They always do. And there's always an evolution in fishing.
You want to know what I thought about? Like, I always have me and people don't realize all of us talk. Like me and Ish will get on the phone for like an hour and just like go off on stuff that we hear about. This is all up in the way. It's all covering. I'll just put something else in there. So like what I working and I had Strike King meetings yesterday. Ish, you said you had meetings with
I've had meetings with Missile. I've had meetings, we've talked about it. All the sponsors, all the companies have talked about it. River to Sea, we've talked about it.
Right, but we just talk about baits and all kinds of stuff in these meetings, like agendas, all kinds of stuff. What I'm realizing and what I've noticed with part of our meeting and like what I see the landscape of fishing is I was like, from what I've heard in the opens of like how everyone's practicing is so different than like what it's always been like on Rayburn. And so the opens now, you have this group of fishermen all fishing a certain way, and it doesn't look like anyone else. So like when we got a TXTT out here and we're going to have bass champs in a couple of weeks or whatever, all those people are fishing, and everyone else that fishes that lake for the most part are going to look a certain way. And then you got the open guys coming in there looking a different way. And they're like, well, what does that matter? I'm like, well, 10 years ago or 20 years, I wasn't 10 years ago. I'm going a certain time ago. And I'm saying 10 years ago because maybe it was the last time the elites ever came. But when Kevin and all the elite guys, when y'all came to our legs, y'all looked like everyone else.
Right.
And you caught baits on what everyone else is throwing. Like, so you and the
it was relatable
from the club tournament or from every level, we all threw the same baits and fished a certain way.
Right.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just stating a fact of now it doesn't look like that. And so I've been saying we're going to have a separation that you're like, well, does it matter? I'm just saying there's a separation now, and it's going to affect the whole. It's kind of like MLF when Andrew was like, well, they do it a different way. I'm like, yeah, but no one else in the country fishes that way.
Todd,
It's semi unrelatable to some people, right? Like them weighing in a 1 pound 10 ouncer, and all of us that have ever fished tournaments are like, that's not a keeper,
right?
And so, I'm just stating that there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of divisions, and fishing doesn't look the same for everyone like it used to, and so a lot of people are looking at that going. Drifting around in 50 foot of water. Yeah, that doesn't really relate to me. I'm not going to watch that. I'd rather watch this guy flipping bushes.
Right.
And it's just going to divide. It's dividing a sport that's already being divided.
Yes.
This is the craziest practice I've ever had, from fishing local tournaments on Rayburn, BFL's Toyota Series team tournaments. There are certain spots on this lake that even in practice, you don't even go near until boats are gone. Like, I could probably name a dozen places where if there was 4 boats around, I wouldn't be caught dead on it in practice to go check it or to even make a cast on it. This tournament's the craziest practice I've ever had. I could check any place I wanted, and if you squint real hard, you might see them way, way out there. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, there's nobody around what people typically fish on Rayburn. It's unreal. Weirdest practice I've ever had.
I'm not going to lie. I'm really, I hate not being there, especially when it's right next door to where I live. But with all those severe weather changes and everything going on, like, I'm really not envious of y'all right now at all. And the uncertainty, because like today, I know a bunch of you got launched and then they called the day after everybody's launched. And tomorrow, nobody knows. Sunday, nobody knows. I mean, you just never really know how it's all going to shake out. And I hate the uncertainty. I like to be able, like you said, Blake, I like to make a game plan. Blake and I talked earlier, I like to make a game plan and go do it. And when you start throwing these curveballs in there, and everybody has to deal with them, not just one person, but it really does complicate things severely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Not knowing.
When we ran into that problem on Texoma, Blake, remember that? A couple years ago when they had to cancel day 1 and day 2, and then we went on day 3, all of us, and then they had a high school event. So it was like 200 or 250 high school guys, and then 180 or 90 Toyota guys. All on the high school. It was a bad. It was a lot going.
It still blew that day. It still blew that day.
It still blew that day, and that's when I told Mark. I was like, "Hey, man, why are we having these tournaments on Thursday, Friday, Saturday? Like, why can't we put them on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?" And part of my reasoning was, one, we'll stay out of like the high school guys, right? Well, and Rayburn is notorious, right, for having tournaments on Saturdays, and then, it never made sense to me because they're always like, well, there's only going to be 10 of y'all, and we're like, yeah. But it's the 10 guys, and now the top 10 guys that have like fished their stuff all week go out there, and another tournament's out there, and those guys are on our stuff when we get out there. And it's not their fault. It's just like you're not getting a bonus for going out there on a Saturday on Rayburn when there's another tournament. And so I was like, just have them on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We leave the weekenders alone. I mean, I fish weekends out there, right? I don't want to be out there when y'all are out there on the top 10. Say I win in this event, like, you know, and there's a tournament on Saturday. I don't want to be out there with y'all. Like, I don't want to be stepping on y'all. That's why I've never been on the lake ever when y'all are fishing, like a big tournament. But my other thing was this. It allows you, I don't know why. I'm going to get Andrew off. Get out of here. Remove him. I told him he wasn't going to have service.
Of course, he never has service.
Well, I told him, I was like, you're driving. I know where you're driving. So my point was, then if you have these days like this, right? You have a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If you have a weather day, you can add another day.
Right.
Well, and like to my point earlier, you know, we have an off day on Wednesday. I mean, why can't you implement it into the rules that if you see inclement weather coming, cancel the off day, you know, move the tournament up a day. I mean, I think everyone's going to be here. The same housing cost, same cost. I mean, I'm not saying yesterday was any better, but I mean, it's something to look at.
Well, my only thing
yesterday would have been torrential downpour, and they were probably biting Upshaw.
Yeah.
Well, yesterday could have fished old school and rolled a spinnerbait through there and caught them.
Yeah, you're right, but I'm not saying yesterday was conducive. But you know, you look at the next, you know, 2 out of 3 next tournaments: Kentucky Lake, and then Leech. We had a day canceled at Leech. You know,
yes,
you know, if we're gonna keep going to big places, you know, if you're gonna have an off day, which I'm cool with the off day, but make it known that hey, we might have to fish tournament on the off day if we have, you know, severe chance of bad winds or inclement weather. So I think it's something that can definitely be considered for next year, probably.
Well, and like I said, I just think that the off day would have been tough because y'all register and
right. They did a boat inspection.
I heard that was. I got a couple of phone calls from people in that thing going, "This is."
It really wasn't so bad if you showed up at your time. The problem is people don't adhere to. Once again, Bass has rules for a reason so that things can run a little bit smoother. And guys were showing up when it wasn't their time, trying to get there early and things, and they just listen to what they had times and listen to your times.
What were they checking?
They were checking to make sure that you didn't have an extra transducer that everybody, because once again, this goes back to guys not reading the rules or listening to the rules or understanding the rules. And they wanted to make sure that everybody had their one transducer and they didn't have, 500 inches and 14 big screens on their boat. Me, I they kind of laughed. They were just like, ish, you got 2 12s on the front and 116 on the back, kind of like standard issue. While some of these guys, they had 5 12s on their boat, or they had a 16 and 2 12s and another 16, and just had to make sure that they were in regulation.
Did they have to take them off and stuff?
No, they do have to take them off if they have over 55 inches.
So only one transducer, right?
One forward facing transducer. Now I have a Lowrance HD 3-in-1 and I have a 3D on my boat for when I do fish offshore. I love having both of those because the 3D will show me some stuff that everything doesn't always show you.
So mine's set up right now with one forward and one perspective.
You cannot have that.
Would I have to take it off, or could I
Yes. No, you have to take it off. No, you have to take it off.
Okay.
Not covered. Off.
Yep.
Gotcha. Just
wondering. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know. I hadn't talked to y'all about it, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
So, and they said everybody was pretty much there. I mean, most of the guys read the rules, which was great.
About this boater safety course we are required to have. I mean,
that's a federal deal.
But I was like 12 years old when I took mine. I had to go research and call Texas Parks and Wildlife or whatever to get send them my little card. But, I guess where I'm going with this is, are we supposed to have? Is it federal or is that Bass mandating it, or what's the deal there?
Well, there's a lot of states requiring it now, so I think that it's going to become federal at some point. The boater safety course is something that once guys don't know, which way to follow on red and green buoys. Guys don't know what to do in certain scenarios. Guys don't know. They don't know that, you always pass, with the person on your left, or they're on your left.
They're on your
left.
You go right.
Always on your left. Right. You always go right, but they're on your left. Yeah. And people don't know that. And so it's, it's just something that needs to be known. We are in high-powered, wonderful, beautiful bass boats. I mean, my Skeeter does 73 miles an hour. I mean,
we all got
and no brakes.
We all got Skeeters. We all got Skeeters.
Well, yes, that's good. Yeah, we're good. We're Skeeter. We're team Skeeter. Got rid of it. We got Andrew. Yeah, we got Team Skeeter here. Yeah, we got rid of Andrew.
I don't know if that message earlier was some guy just being a whatever and said Panger doesn't want to be here, or Panger got smart. At these. I don't know what he was saying, but guess what? Panger's not invited today. How about that? He didn't get smart. He just wasn't invited.
Got replaced.
Hey, Panger. Yeah, there we go. Boom. Panger got replaced. Love it.
Panger got replaced. I
guess where I was going with that, the boater safety course is just because you have a boater safety course doesn't mean you know how to drive in waves.
Yeah, but it's a good start. It's a good start.
But
it's still a good start. It's a good start. Is there an age exemption? No, there's no age exemption.
No, so I think when we went to New York, what's in New York? Not
St. Lawrence River.
No, the other one.
Champlain.
Yeah, Champlain. I want to say that's when I had to take.
Yes, that's when we all had to take it too. Was the Vermont side had it where we had. I remember we didn't find out till we got there to the tournament, and everybody was taking the boater safety course. And once again, if you boat enough, pretty much most of the rules. It's pretty easy to get through.
You have to go through it. It's like an 8-hour course.
Yeah, it's not short.
Yeah.
But
the test was we had to just take the test. The course, you had to watch the course, or you could skip the course and go take the test if you knew. And once again, at that time, most of us knew the laws and the rules, and so we just jumped in and took the test, and it took us about 45 minutes.
So that might have been there, but does the test go around like because I have no idea. I've only taken.
Yes, Boat US is the test that I took, and California made us we had to have a boater safety course to get a card, and so I took the Boat US one, and that one got me certified in California for my boater's card. Let me see if I can find my little nice, pretty boater's card.
Well, that was what I was going to say. Dude, it's been like 5 years, 6 years. So I don't know. I thought, and maybe that's when you get a ticket, but I thought like a ticket, like driving, but I thought you had to like, oh, nice. I thought you had to like let the video play before you can get to the next. You couldn't.
Boat US one, you could take the test.
Yeah, the one I took was just
what I did.
Yeah, you didn't have to watch the video.
I think it was in sections. You had to get like a minimum of an 80 on each section.
Like but this is not true, Parker.
That's not true anymore. They changed.
You were born before 1981. That is not true.
No, it used to be that way. They used to have a age deal, and then now they are. It started out you had to be born before or born after 1974 is what it was. And then they moved it, and now it's everybody. Like for state of California, you could be 8 years old, you could be 80 years old. You better have a boater safety course, or it's a $500 fine.
Well, I was seeing that a bunch in Alabama. They were talking about Pickwick, that they're like, or it was one of those lakes in Alabama that they were freaking. They're like, if you have an out-of-state tag, right, on your boat, that they were really going for you. And not in a bad way, but they were like, all right, let's see if this guy has it. Because, certain states, I don't think Texas is like, I've never been asked for it ever. And if they ask me, I'd have to I'll be honest with you. I guess I better go look for it. I don't have that card.
No, dude, you can get it downloaded, I think, on your outdoor annual app.
Yeah, I need to go because it's kind of like my hunter's education card.
Yeah,
I've got it, but I mean, it's one of those cards that you kind of like you don't look at for like 10 years.
Yeah, so I think
but I mean, because like California, if you go buy a gun, you have to have a gun safety course. Like you got to know the rules. And
that's not like that in Texas, is it? Like that's not.
Concealed carry, and if you want to hunt by yourself, you take the hunter's education program.
Yeah, but it used to not always be like that because
you can buy a gun whenever you don't. I mean, as long as
there was at one point in time that it was only for deer hunting, like rifle hunting.
No, if you want to hunt migratory game birds by yourself, standalones and hunt deer hunt by yourself, you have to have the hunter safety course.
Yeah, but it wasn't always like. I think it was. It wasn't like that when I was younger, and then it changed somewhere along the way.
That was back in the good old days.
That's what I'm saying. Like, lost my hunter education card 30 years ago. The only ticket I've ever had in my entire life was I didn't have a hunter's education card. I had taken it. Now it got dropped because, I called up the judge and said, "Hey, here it is," and they're like, "Yeah, no problem."
You didn't have it on you. You didn't have it on you.
Well, yeah, because at the time I went and got it. Me and my wife both had gotten it. And we had just, I didn't have it on my wall. I had everything else. And I was like, yeah, we have it. And I think now it can actually show up. I don't know how it works, but now I went and redid it because they couldn't, not that they couldn't find it, but because I don't know why we went and redid it and got our cards now. And I think it's in my wallet. I've only been asked that one time ever, just that one time ever. Yeah,
but that one time is knowing the rules, and it's probably saved your life many a times for being safe. It's kind of like yes and no. I mean, you never really know because it's like, you think about something.
No, I grew up. I didn't learn anything in there. I'll be honest, but not in a bad way. They taught good stuff. Yeah, like when I took my handgun stuff, like I freaking learned everything they teach you is freaking awesome. But in hunting stuff, man, so much of it was, we just grew up with my dad and all them, and like those people taught.
Right, but we got to think about you had a good educator.
Yeah.
It's the simplest thing is you don't go walking through the forest in full camo without wearing something. Right, but that's part of but that's part of that hunter safety course. And that's where there's guys that needed to know that because, you have these people out there that would just be like, oh, I'm going to wear my full camo and nothing that separates me. And that's the way it saves somebody's life.
No, I will say, Ish, I take that back. I sometimes think, how about this? I think of safety as like your safety with the gun, right? Because to me, I think that's where like 99% of accidents happen, right? People that aren't safe with their gun. And that's what I was taught by my dad and adults, men that I was around growing up. What I would say though is like, spray painting purple, that's no trespassing and things like that. There are those things that like sometimes they don't teach you because, whatever. So I would say a lot of the more lawful things that are more within the law, that stuff you do learn by far in those classes. So I shouldn't have said that. I was thinking more.
And that's what I was thinking. That's what I'm thinking about is just the simplest things that you do naturally because you had a good educator. There's a lot of people that don't know those simplest things. Like you say, spraying purple for trespassing or any of those, obscured rules that the average person might not have an educator to teach them.
Right.
Yeah, most of the things I learned hunting-wise from my dad, I learned some stuff like that. But I think at 10, when I took the hunter's education, I didn't even have to sit through the course if they would have allowed that because we couldn't take it online back then. I could have passed the test right away. But, most of your accidents, in that aspect is from most of them are trips and falls. A lot of it's common sense. being very aware of your surroundings and what you're doing while you're hunting. So,
right.
I mean, it's the same thing on the water. Same
Well,
thing.
yeah,
100%. 100%. You know, but once again, you got to think about it. How many times have guys just turned and cut in front of your bow as you're driving and you're trying to stay in the boat lane? You know, it's right. Exactly. And so, and it's just people that are non-educated that didn't know, like, hey, you don't cut in front of somebody. I mean, it's common sense that you wouldn't do that in a boat lane, but guys still did it. And that's where the boater safety courses come in.
So what's funny about the boater safety course is good. I'm with Blake on this though, is what happened with y'all today. So like, I don't even want to, I'll get into this now. What happened?
Here we go.
So like when me and Bradley and Andrew, sometimes we got a lot of hate our way because we used to talk about like the small boat deal. Like the small boat deal in the opens and in tournaments. And our thing about that is like, you know, we all there would be guys that we went to a certain impoundment, a certain lake or certain place, and it was like there was some shady stuff always going on with small boats. I just put it there. It just was, right? You can do some shadier stuff to where people can't get in a spot. You can stock places within there with fish from outside. I mean,
jumping down.
Yeah,
oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
I don't care. Like, I'm just like people like look at it as like we were hating on small boats. I'm like, no, there's shady stuff you can do with a smaller boat when you know no one else can get in a spot, and you can have your buddies stock it for freaking a month, and then an open comes along, and all of a sudden there's randomly freaking 3-pounders all in this one random little backwater, and it's the only place like that on the lake, right?
Right.
And what made us mad is that like, and they changed the rules to where like, okay, you had to keep that boat throughout the entirety of whatever. But then you had these cancellation of days and when it's windy. Well, I got a big boat. I didn't want to go spend freaking the amount of money on a big boat when I was younger. But I lived on Lake Livingston, which is like second biggest lake in Texas, and maybe rougher than Rayburn because the seawall and bulkheads, like the backwash. It was like, it would beat you to death. Then you go to Rayburn and you got freaking 8-foot swells with a northwest wind, maybe 6 foot, whatever. And so like, and we used to have to take off in that stuff. So like you had to go get it. Like we went and got big boats because we had to if we were going to fish tournaments. Like you couldn't get by with a small boat. Blake knows that, right? And so that was why we had big boats. It's not because we wanted to be elitist and have an $80,000 boat back in the day. We just had to, or we wouldn't be able to fish these tournaments when it blew. Then all of a sudden now the wind blows 15 miles an hour and they cancel days. And I was like, yeah, we're like, hey, if you want to have a small boat and get that advantage, right, to get places where no one else can, you got to go get the disadvantage too when we get, 15, 20 mile an hour winds. And they didn't ever have to do that because days are getting canceled. Well, the other thing is happening right now is it's like, dude, zero wind and sun is great for the scopers. But when it blows, it's tough. And it's like, great, they don't have to deal with the wind now. They're getting a free. It just sucks that, like, man, like me and Blake learned on Rayburn how to drive a lake. So like today, I'm sorry, it wasn't bad. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't
like that.
That's bad.
Good. That's not good.
That's today, northwest. See that lake
coming like this today? Not bad.
I want everyone like view. Awesome. So that picture of Blake's, our lake runs northwest. Mm-hmm. When it's northwest or southeast, it gets nasty, like giant, like looks like the ocean.
I told Ish NW means not worth it yesterday.
Yeah, but straight up and down is north, and you've got about 4 miles, maybe not even 4 of the wind coming down. You got to deal with it for a little bit. It's not that bad, but and I understand bass. I'm not knocking bass. This is what sucks is that bass has to deal with a bunch of people that don't know how to drive boats and like freaking don't have common sense and they're going to do stupid stuff and get in wrecks and not know how to drive, and then it ruins it for all of us. That's been going on a lot in fishing. So, I mean, they have a big – I get it. They have – what is he doing? Is he rubbing me? What are you doing?
No, I'm scrolling through the comments.
Oh, I'm like, are we like a cat? It's like he's a cat, like scratching us.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm scrolling through the comments.
Look at
Scroll through the comments.
You know what bothers me is
you're good, Ish.
Yeah, I fish for my whole life, and you always watch the weather, and you have to strategically practice for what's coming. And if we're going to take the strategic practice for what's coming out, I mean, I highly doubt the majority of the field practiced
5%
for a backup if I couldn't go do what I wanted to do. I mean, I looked at it and said, well, I know what I have to do to survive the first day. I'm boat 10. I'm doing it at 3 o'clock. I know what I have to do to survive. And then the second day I'll get a long day. But now we're looking at possibly a 1-day shootout. And I mean, they had to do what they had to do. I'm not mad about it, but I mean.
Well, it just sucks because like that was part, like the 3-day event was always cool. 1-day events were all of our team stuff, right? We had to just go blast in that one day, and everyone dealt with the conditions as they were.
Redman's.
And I'm never disappointed when a team tournament, a team event, that's all of us locals on a lake, and they're like, hey, y'all can go trailer, right? Because I mean, at that point in time, we're fine. Like we're all like, yeah, what are we doing beating up our boats and everything for this? It still might be a lot of money, but we got to go beat up our boat again next week and stuff like this. This is Opens and Toyotas are a little bit different. And I know they have those days to like, you can get rid of one, but it just, I would have practiced 100% going, it's going to be a north wind. It takes out one side of the lake for sure. I'm going to make sure I have some fish on one side, and then I might have to tuck in the pockets and catch them or whatever. And that's fine. And the one day you get to get out there on the main lake, if you can catch you get to do all that. And now it's like, no.
There you go. One day shootout.
Yeah.
And it's the guy who rolls through. It's the guy that rolls through on the one glory spot at the time that those big ones move up. And, kind of like how the tournament went last weekend. Last weekend.
Livingston. Hey, I like this. Thanks, fact checker. Y'all sure y'all want to freaking fact check me? Y'all sure? I said the largest lake in Texas. Inside of Texas. Sam Rayburn is number 1. And Livingston is number 2. Toledo Bend is in Texas and Louisiana. It's number 1. Falcon, Amstead, Texoma. They're not fully in Texas.
Border lakes. And
be careful. Be careful.
Todd loves this stuff. Todd loves this stuff. He loves it. He lives for it every day.
Hey, I know.
Hey, I'm going to throw a random one out there, too. Everyone's talking about how many tournaments have canceled Saturday. I know that the high school tournament canceled. I know the BFL canceled. I think ABA on
there was
canceled.
Yeah, there was a bunch of already. They've already pre-canceled it beforehand.
I saw some storms, in the early mornings, 3-4 a.m. on Saturday, and then it looks like it's going to be further in the afternoon that the heavy winds with the big thunderstorms are going to come through, because that's when the wind switches to the north. Obviously, that's going to be when it gets bad. But, I think a lot of these tournaments used it as an excuse to cancel because their turnouts were really low, too.
Ooh.
And ding, 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 ding.
Whoa,
ding,
blood going out.
Ding, ding. What? Ding. Hold on.
Really?
Ding. Yeah.
Really
Just saying. So? I do. I mean, look at it. That one tournament organization didn't even reschedule it on the same lake.
I don't know anything. Keep talking.
I mean, you're going out of San Miguel for a tournament on Toledo. They had a horror story last year of how big the waves are when they went out in a lesser wind than this or whatever. But they canceled it on. Was it Tuesday night or Wednesday? I think it was yesterday. Maybe it was yesterday, because I signed up for it because I didn't make the top 10, which obviously I don't have to worry about now because they canceled it. But the forecast has changed several times since then. And I know people saying that there's 40-mile-an-hour gusts. Well, it doesn't just blow 40 out of the southwest without thunderstorms. I've never seen.
I told Hank, I was like, man, southwest wind freaking blow 50 on Rayburn, and when you drive out of there in the morning time,
yeah,
dude,
you'll never know. You barely even be able to hear the wind in the cove.
You'll be going 80 miles an hour down the lake. You can drive all the way to 147 Bridge with an 80-mile-an-hour wind from the southwest at 80 miles an hour all the way. Now, can you go to the other side of the lake? That's your call. But my deal with that is this. I always said it was a way bigger risk because of coinlers. Like a coingler is like stuck with an idiot, right? So you got this idiot. No, I'm just saying, like, you got this idiot driving you in the worst spot.
Luckily, Andrew isn't on the. Isn't on the.
So now the only idiot you're putting in risk is yourself because you don't have coinlers. So like, this was a bad deal. And I don't want to bring it up, but this was the.
But how do you cancel? How do you cancel 3 days when the weatherman's only right 50% of the time?
No,
That's the question. Only right 50%
because of the turnout. It was a bad turnout. And I think the same thing for the Caddo Lake. I don't know for
with
a fact.
The BFL.
Yeah, dude.
What do you think it was?
I bet you it was less than 100. I'm just guessing.
Which is horrid numbers for a Texas BFL event.
On Toledo, where there's going to be 4 bags over 30.
But remember,
that might be another issue too.
last year they only had 100. If I read some of the Facebook Warriors comments, but it's
where's the fact checker? We need the fact checker. There's a fact checker somewhere.
Yeah, we need that. The Toledo.
Well, he's got it wrong already.
Yeah, but
CNN got it wrong once.
Yeah.
If it was out Cypress Bend, it'd be different.
You think?
Yeah, I mean,
them boys don't want to have to drive.
Nobody wants to go to San Miguel on a 2-lane ramp or whatever it is, and no parking lot. I mean, when I signed up, I didn't even pay attention. After I signed up, I was like, "Oh, why'd you do that?" But doesn't matter now. Oh, kickapoo.
I always just throw that out there and see if Ish can remember.
I do remember. Yeah. That was Palestine was a good lake, I felt like.
It's in my backyard.
It's in his backyard. We like Palestine.
10 minutes from the house. No, yeah. So I wouldn't be shocked if we go Saturday. We ain't going Sunday.
We ain't going Sunday.
Well, they're not going to do it Sunday because the elite guys have to get down to St. John's, and they're not going to do that to those guys. Because if they fish Sunday, then they miss a day of practice. They will not. Once again, the elites are the highest level of competitive bass fishing, and so if the guys are going to support them fishing the opens, then they're at least going to be respectful and let those guys get to the event.
Ooh, I know what Lake is talking about.
We don't have to talk about it. Me and Blake went to the other one.
That means hey, just for everybody out there, I just want to let you know that means that lake is a really good fishery, and they're not going to talk about it. Oh, you can't fish it yet.
You can't, right, Blake?
No, it's open.
Is that the one you were telling me about?
Mm-hmm. We fished it together.
No, not that one.
Yeah,
the one he's talking about. Yeah,
we didn't fish this one.
Bodark.
Yeah, that means it's a really folks. That means it's a really great lake and it has big ones in it. They're just not talking about it. That's what that means. It's code. Code is that lake's closed.
Hold on. Yes. Is this not the lake that you were talking about that you drove over, Blake, on the way home?
That's God. What is that one?
So it's not. But what is? I've never fished this lake.
Well, he just said it starts with a B. First one and second one.
Oh, you think he got it spelled wrong?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure. I thought it was that other one that they were building.
The one that they're building is Ralph Hall.
Okay, gotcha.
Is that right? I think
no, me and Blake went to this. I don't know.
I don't know. Heck, I don't know.
Me and Blake went to the other one. We were me and him went together.
Yeah.
Code meaning here's a cheat code, folks. lake has a bunch of big ones in it, and they catch them there.
Not a lot. Well, we didn't catch very many. We didn't.
But you caught them.
Yeah, we had a fun time flipping. I made video on I did a show on that lake. So, I don't mind talking about it.
Yeah,
but it's like boat arc, but I don't think it's this, unless he's talking about something I don't know about.
I think he's talking about boat arc. It has to be, because I think, Ralph Hall's one they're building. And that's when I drove over and told you.
That's the one. Okay.
You can see when you drive over the lake, you can see where they're stocking all the fish. You can see like all these big ponds with like all the construction tape around it, and that's how like they have a bunch of bass growing in them. They're in like 2 or 3 lakes.
They did it with boat arc too. They did it with Fork. That's how they filled up Fork too.
If you drive over, you can see where they're growing.
So basically, they flood the lake. All the ponds get flooded, and the bass just get to go and roam. And when they open up the lake, the bass are dumb, and fishing is really good for a while.
So what they're stocking those ponds with, like F1, like giant. So
sign me up.
So then you'll have this like brute fish already in there that might be 6 or 7 pounders, right? So like you can catch one of those right off the bat, but chances are you're going to catch more like the 2 to 4 pound range,
right? But the F1s are already there. Yeah,
and then those should be the restocking of that different breed of fish that like grow. That's how they purposefully do that thing.
I'll tell you what, those fish on boat arc are built different.
They're built different. That's what my son says now all the time. I just shake my head like, dude, you ain't built different.
Dad, I'm built different, Dad. I'm just built different.
That's what he said. I'm like, you don't even know what that means, kid.
Hey, what did Michaela win the other day? Or what did she call? What was that she did?
She got picked for their club is a club out of Germany. Mm-hmm. And they have their division here in the United States and Canada, and she was picked for her age group for the international, like of all the kids in the country and Canada, to be on the whatever it is, the 2011 team. So
2011.
Such a proud father.
So 2000. She's a 2011 kid.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
2011. That's gotcha. So I mean, they don't go by like how old she is. Like she's 13, but she's a 2011 kid.
Right on.
She's barely a 2011 kid. So she'll probably be she's been the youngest kid on every team she plays because she missed the 2012 by 9 days.
Doesn't make a difference.
Well, guys, I'm gonna go get me some lunch. What else am I gonna do today? Don't know. Got a lot of stuff. I might, if you guys are still on, I might hop back on after a little lunch. But
Lee was supposed to get on, but he's getting his boat wrapped.
Yeah, Lee's waited till last minute. He's last minute.
Well, and then I don't know what happened to Andrew. Andrew was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was driving to Lufkin for.
That's close to how you spell boat arc. It's the
boat arc.
Yeah, it's two words. He's got the first part right.
BOIS, and then
it sounds like dark, so dark's close enough.
Yeah, it's good. That's close. It's a dude. Hey, dude. We just went there and flipped. Like that's all me and freaking Blake did is flipped nonstop. Like
I like flipping. I like flipping.
We figured out
all trees and bushes. And then we frog.
Oh, frogging's fun too. I'll definitely do some frogging. I love frogging.
I don't think we caught a fish doing anything else, did we?
No, I think we might have caught one on spare.
You didn't throw a jig head minnow.
We didn't even.
as everybody gets quiet. There it is.
We didn't.
There it is. Yeah, there we go.
I love the fact checkers, but you boys enjoy. Blake saved me some tomorrow. Todd, as usual, it's always a pleasure. But like I said, I'm gonna go eat some lunch and possibly hop back on.
If you have a long day tomorrow,
I have 4:50 tomorrow, so maybe I can go out and catch myself about 17, 18, and get me a little checkerooski there. I already know I can't win unless I pull up on my cranking hole and the big ones show up first thing in the morning and catch me like 2 or 3 of them 13-pounders, and then from there, I don't know.
Well, I'll be in at 3, so I'll have lunch ready for you when you get back.
Yeah. All right. Great. Now
Hey.
just have dinner. Real quick, I've got to say, Clark's cookies, man. Clark Reed's cookies. I'm just saying they're pretty bomb. Just saying,
man.
I'm just saying. You ain't making me eat cookies. I mean, Clark's got his cookie game down strong.
Help me out. Well, I'm gonna back myself up. We didn't have the best cookie dough, and
that's true.
We didn't have the facilities in Alabama that we have here.
Right. Okay.
Hey,
we're gonna say, Todd.
Next time you were supposed to come down. We had talked about you coming down and fishing with me a day or two before or after this, and I don't know what happened. But if you'd have come down a couple days earlier, me and you would have been sight fishing.
I know. I saw the video and I got all excited because I was thinking your video was on Rayburn, and I was like, and then, but I still did go through a frog on Sunday of the first day of practice and caught me some on it. I had to send you that picture.
He did send me a picture, like out of the blue. It's just is with the frog, and I'm like, I don't I don't think people realize that. Like, me and Blake talked once in the past month. What I mean by that is, like, I don't call y'all.
I
don't because once again, we don't want to get ourselves in a deal.
I know. And so, but it was funny. Like I was like, all right. I don't even know if I texted you back or anything.
You did. It went quiet. I was just like, oh, it's getting at him. He wants to be out here. So
it made me mad because I went to that lake to go frog fishing because I thought I saw what I needed to do, and then I could not get it. They wouldn't eat it, and then I'm like, oh. Well, I can do this.
Yeah. Oh, some sight fish? Yeah. Oh. Yes, please.
Early February? All right.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, boys. You have fun.
Right.
Well, like I said, I don't know. I thought Andrew was coming, and I don't know where Lee is. He hadn't even texted me back, but I think he's coming back from the where is it?
He's probably coming back from Brent's. It's over at the
Tyler place.
No, he uses the same guy I use, Brent McNeil. God dang it! It's in over by Caddo Lake.
Hold on, I'll go back to Wyatt. Is cookies code for something? Y'all are so like, I don't know where. I'm always kind of shocked about, like, when people say this because I don't really know. They made us somewhere something that was like 40% of Americans do this, and I was like, I'll be honest, maybe I'm a dork, a nerd, or whatever. I'm like, I know like 50 of y'all, and I don't know of a single person. Like, I don't know anyone that does this. No, we mean chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah, really, chocolate chip cookies. It's kind of a weird deal, but yeah.
So like Blake, so when me and Blake started, 4 or 5, 6 years ago, rooming together, I was like, "Are you over there eating milk and cookies?" He was like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Every night." And, I'm like, because I had a beer probably, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll have a beer and milk and cookies," and I'm like, "All right." And it was Chips Ahoy stuff. And I'm like, Chips Ahoy cookies are horrible. He's like, oh, no, I'll make them too. And so then the next place we stayed at, we had, how many do we usually make at one point in time?
We usually get like the Nestle House, just like the pack of 24, and you got to make them together. So it's a
dude, we'd eat like 10 a piece a night.
Oh, the whole pack. And then we have another pack the next night and another pack the next night. It's like that.
With the like, because we cook a big old dinner, drink a beer too, have cookies, and like that was it. So yeah, everyone's like, and I know everyone's saying it's not a big deal. I know it's not a big deal. I'm just saying, every once in a while, people will say something. I'm like, no, that's not, like, we're not talking about that. But I'm just saying that, man, I'm around a lot of people, and like, no one, I don't know of any of our fishermen friends, like there's no one. Sorry. So yeah, I don't even think about stuff like that.
I know a few.
I'm not saying I don't know anyone. I'm saying we don't hang out. I don't hang none of the fishermen we travel with, none of the like
Michelob Ultra or Corona Premier for Todd. That's about it. And milk and cookies. That's it.
Dude, I'm so old. I've gone to Corona Premier. But if I'm at my house and I'll have it like a Stella. I don't know why.
To Wyatt's comment, I mean, I have to have more in a one-day event to have 30.
Yeah, no joke, Wyatt. What do you mean? He's got to have at least 2 days.
Oh man, I am living Bullard.
Where is? Oh, see, Lee ain't gonna make it. He's still at the whatchamacallit, the
Brent's place,
whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay. Yo.
Yeah, see, like they're all talking about if I was stumped. No, I'd probably just fall asleep. Someone's got to do it. Yeah, Wyatt. I know who's probably going to do it. I don't know the actual person. I can probably tell you what their how they'd be dressed and what they'd have on their front deck. They're talking about that. Did you see like the Lake of the Pines deal?
Yeah, is that the
yeah.
It was that lake always shows out though this time of
Yeah,
year.
but the problem was like one of my really good friends. I know I'll let you talk about that. One of my really good friends fished that and had like 23 pounds, and he was like freaking fishing, right? And he goes, "I think we got beat 100% all by live scopers." And that was a lake that you kind of would look at going, that's probably not going to affect that lake, because the fish are like, you catch so many big bags shallow, and now you can't even win shallow over there. You can't even come close to winning.
Yeah, you can catch 30 above the bridge.
Why did you capitalize Bart?
That's interesting.
It should read this. There you go. There you go. Only one person can live scope at a time. I'm not knocking. I'm just saying, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's. I wonder if that's ever going to become a thing in those team tournaments, man. Because it sure is hard to like. It's sure making team partners in like live scope events worthless. And I'm not being mean. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you saying at least one angler has to catch 2 of the 5?
No, I'm just saying, like,
that'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
But I'm just saying, like, it does make a team event. It makes the guy. I'm not saying they can't, but it almost. If you're just regular fishing, your team partner is like so crucial to what you do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've won tournaments before by myself in team events and stuff but I rely on. I mean, when me and you fish, like I fish with you in a team event, Russell, whatever. Like we fish differently knowing someone else is there, and you can double team, you can do different things. Yeah, it's a totally different. In live scoping, man, we have tried to figure it out, and there is not really.
People are going to see exactly what we're talking about when your video comes out of us on Tyler.
Oh, I know. I got to work on that. I mean, exactly. I've been waiting because it's so early. I'm gonna wait till the next month.
Yeah, I mean, did people see exactly what we're talking about?
See, and he totally missed this. I know Bart can fish. That it wasn't a knock on Bart. My whole conversation was but it makes Bart irrelevant. When you scope in one person scoping and the other one, it makes you irrelevant. That's just,
So I have a question for you.
So like everyone takes offense. I don't understand why. Like I know Bart, but I'm just saying, like, if someone's going live scoping and you're just back there, you're not contributing much. It's hard to like, and I'm just saying it's not really.
So and
Take as a scoper though. I mean, that's what I'm literally saying all this. I don't understand.
Here's my thing, Todd. When I first started fishing, fishing tournaments, bass and bucks, bass champs, everything. Obviously me and Easton fished together, but even if you did good, because we had some early success, when we were 19, 20, 21.
Yeah.
And dude, I never in a million years would have imagined, I'm just going to name drop. Thinking about someone that's fished a lake for forever, Albert Collins, yourself, Bolware, Chris McCall. I could go, the list goes on and on. I could never imagine me teaming up with one of those guys when I was 19 to 23, 24 years old. And now you see all these young kids fishing with these guys been fishing for 20, 30 years. I've never seen anything like it, and it kind of blows my. How do they even get in contact with these guys? Like, how does this even happen? Because usually when I was coming up, me and Easton were two young guns on Rayburn. We had probably the early success as young people coming up, and now you have all these young people fishing with guys in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and it's kind of interesting. How does it all?
All I'll say on this is just be careful. Every once in a while, people that are really young. I always remembered when I was really young, I really listened to people that were older than me and that people that made a lot of sense and were smart. And I don't really remember saying anything about banning anything or anything like that. But if you can't figure out what's going on in the industry, so these same people, when we were talking about MLF at the time and things going on, and I mean, we got ridiculed by some people about this MLF thing and stuff. And it's funny, you just see a mass exodus of people from MLF, right? And I always say, you don't see people leaving bass to go to MLF. You see to this day, you still see people leaving MLF to bass. And I think we were and I like him. I like fish MLF events, but there was an issue or two that we saw within the organization that we didn't really like, and it has come out. So we all scope. I get Tyler's trying ban everything. No one said anything about banning anything, but this is the problem that sometimes young people, they don't think. They're just out there doing, right? And so they're just out there winning tournaments, and it's just like all these young people that have come around from Rayburn for years. And they're like, they get in these things, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're like doing really good on Rayburn. And then 3 years from now, you never heard of them. And I was just like, look, man, this industry is a really complex thing. And I've always said, I'm all about this industry. Like right now, I'm very vocal about this right now. I don't care what you do. Something has to be done. And something has to be done because there's no reason why all these tournaments have less people. And if we have less people at tournaments, there's less money in the thing. It's all bad. It's not good. And it's in a hole. So someone smarter than me, figure it out. But if you just say, don't do this or don't do that, and we should because it's more personal or because it's going to help you, right? I'm not a guy who's like that. I'm like, man, it might help you for the moment and hurt you for the long run. And right now, stuff is hurting the industry for the long run. And they better change it, or you're going to have guys out there fishing team tournaments, 30 guys against, 30 guys. And you're going to go win you $800. That's all I'm just saying. And so there has to be, you have to look at it and go, okay, some changes have to be made. And the bass guys, didn't like what was going on with bass. That's why they made a mass exodus too, right? They're like, you have to change stuff. So I wasn't knocking that part of it either. right? They didn't like what was going on over there, and they moved, hoping it would change. I commend them for trying to. I just don't think they exactly, whatever. But this guy, by the way, I'm not ignoring that. I cannot talk about Rayburn, by the way. That's why we're not talking about Rayburn, because,
I can't.
He's fishing the event. He can't have information. So we're not talking about whatever. Way to go, Tierra. I'm just stating that, like, and maybe Tyler was joking, but it is a little bit like this. It was like what we said earlier, man. There's a big disconnect. There's always been a disconnect from the elites and everyone else. These companies are taking advantage of the minnow style baits. They have to. Go ask Lee what happened yesterday at Tackle Addict. And that's a problem, what happened at Tackle Addict yesterday. And he told me what happened. And so it's like, basically, you only need one aisle right now. You need one aisle in tackle stores. But anyways, the elites, there's a big disconnect from the elites and everyone else, right? There's always been that, like, when I mean disconnect, it's like a lot of times the elites don't really, they're over there talking about their $100,000 boats that, a lot of them got for free and this and that. And a lot of guys are like, yeah, that doesn't really resonate with me. Like, we don't get our stuff for free, or not all of them do, but like it was kind of an elitist attitude. And now you change that even to the opens. Like I said, now they're not even fishing like the regular public. And so it's just it's going in a lot of weird directions. And my deal is this: every time you split something, even if it's not on purpose, it's not good. Like, if you have, like, does that make sense? If you have, like,
I get what you're saying.
If everyone's all together doing the same thing, like everyone's all involved, and then when you split it, okay, well, great. Now you have two different groups. That money gets split, and tournaments get split, and the entries get split up, right? So if you have one big tournament and everyone shows up on a Saturday and 400 people show up, a lot of people can make a lot of money, right? Sponsors can throw all in money into that event. More anglers can show up. The anglers win more money. It's a win-win for everyone involved. And then you split it down the middle. And you're like, well, now we're going to have 200 anglers over here and 200 anglers over here. And now a sponsor was like, well, I'm still going to give about $10,000, but you're only going to get 5,000. You're only going to get 5,000. Yep. And so now when you win this event, you only get half the money you would have won. And then if you split that again, now you got, you know what I'm saying? And that's what's going on. It keeps getting split. And so so now you had Bass and MLF, and then you're going to split it again and now have NPFL. And then you're going to do the same thing with tournaments, going with forward-facing sonar, without it. Like, that's going to happen. They're going to start having these with and without it, and everyone's going to be like, oh, that's great. And I'm like, yeah, until it's the same Saturday. And so you got 100 guys over, 50 guys over here and 50 guys over here, right? Or 25 and 20. I mean, it's not a good thing. That's all I'm saying is, like, regardless of whether you like it or not, if things are splitting it up, it's just going to be harder,
I'll be interested to see how long three big organizations can sustain that.
Well, like I said, I mean, how it's going on right now, and maybe some guy. We're having a stupid podcast talking about freaking cookies, and the MLF's going on right now. We should be watching it.
I mean, I tell you what, I paid more attention to the invitationals than I ever did the BPT.
Well, I was excited about the BPT. Tell us what happened at Tackle Addict. It wasn't anything bad. It was just what got bought there. Like, Lee called me up and he was like, "This is what got bought," and I'm like,
I was because Lee, I went in there and bought a new scale yesterday. And I did buy some more jig head minnows because I just wanted to have them. They weren't the ones that I typically use, but I heard stories in there just walking through there, and public knowledge. And I heard one of the ladies sitting there when they got their shipment of Sakamata shads in, she was having to ration them for people because people were wanting to buy all of them. She goes, "No, you can only buy so many packs. You can only buy so many packs." It's crazy. It's crazy.
And like I said, I mean, some people might not care, and it might not make sense, but I can see things as the really, really big picture. I think I've done that my entire, and I'm like, it doesn't always come to me right away. But like I said, I mean, you got to realize a lot of people are like, "Man, Todd, you're all over the place with what I'm thinking." That's because I think about everything. So when I think about the open guys out there pre-fishing a certain way, right? And then you got this other group of people that fish Rayburn that don't fish that way. And then the open guys are like, "I want sponsorship deals and I want this and I want that." And I'm like, "Well, what are you trying to sell? What do you do? Like, what are you actually doing in this business?" Right? "Well, I'm trying to look at what I can do with forward facing sonar and this, or look what I can do." And I'm like, "Well, there's your audience out there on the bank at the boat ramp launching too. And they're not fishing like you, and they might not want to. And so you're trying to sell to someone that doesn't care what you're doing. Like, be mindful of that, right?" And I don't think they're mindful of that because they're like, "I'm catching 30 pounds." And they're like, they don't even have live scope. They don't have, that was my whole point to all that about the elites. Sometimes like they're around a bunch of other elite guys that all had like the same boats and same power poles before everyone else and all this stuff. And so guys are sitting there going, "Well, just put these power poles on your boat. You'll be fine." And this guy's like, "Dude, I'm trying to figure out how to make a $450 payment to my 1991, Skeeter."
I mean, to your point, I watched the Classic from 2013 on Grand, and you want to see someone sell a jerkbait, go watch that again. No forward-facing sonar. Dude, go. That's where when you can truly sell something to your audience. Go watch that Classic again.
Yeah,
and you'll see what fishing was all about. I mean, God, it was cool to watch again. It brings you back to that time when I was still fishing. Obviously, already fishing pretty competitively, and it brought you back to, that's what it was like. And you go watch that class. Those boys were fishing. Go watch it.
Well, so in a February event on Rayburn, the rattle trap was a dominant thing. But if you went into a tackle store, it was, and I know I'm with striking, but I'm telling you, it goes across the entire board. Like I said, and there's a reason I say all this. If you look at it from the tackle store side, right? So the tackle store is losing because back then they would go in with like guys are winning right now with a 6XD and a DD300, right? Whatever, like that kind of crankbait. Yep. And none of the open guys are going to go buy that. They're all going to go buy the same thing. But back in the day, you could throw a rattle trap in there, a chatterbait, a spinnerbait, Carolina rig stuff. Like you'd have this like array of baits you could go throw. Okay. And there was and you could win a tournament a lot of different ways. And you're like, "Well, you're from the bait side of things." Well, okay. So from a tackle store, everyone at the tackle store would agree that owns a tackle store would agree with me, right? Anyone that owns a bait company would agree with me. However, like I said, then you got these guys going, "Well, I want sponsor money." And if I was a company and like, "Yeah, dude, all you're gonna sponsor is one minnow." I've got 20 other guys out there that we don't even sponsor all throwing the minnows, so we're good.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, then the sponsor money goes away, right? There's not as much sponsor money out there for that kind of stuff. And there's not like, "Well, I don't need all those rods. I only need a couple rods." You hear what Matt told me the other day? I don't even want to say that out loud about what Matt brought on. He said, "Todd, I don't even have one type of rod on my boat." You know, the rod that you go like this with? He didn't even have that kind of a rod in his boat. He said, "I'm on Sam Rayburn. I don't have a bait caster in my boat."
Yeah, he told me it's basically the same thing.
That's wild.
It's crazy, but good for him. I mean, more power to him. One thing
right there. There used to be a time when you wondered what they were going to win it on. Dude, Clay, that is a phenomenal point. because we were all interested. No one is. I'm telling you right now, Clay, you're 100% right. Who wants to make a bet with me right now? Clay won't make that bet. Me and Clay will make the bet with someone else. I bet you me and Clay both agree and I don't know, Clay, me and him will both agree what the freaking winning bait will be to a degree.
Yeah,
and
please don't put it on here though.
No, I'm not. I'm saying is we're not like no one's concerned about that. No one's like, yeah, it's probably going to be done that way. Big deal, and move on.
You know, what's crazy, talking about tackle addict and tackle shop. I fish. Me and yourself have fished a bunch of BFLs, bunch of Toyota series here, and you go into the tackle shop. You want to know what people are catching them on? Is you go watch after everyone gets their boat draw.
Yeah.
Toyota series or BFL, and go to tackle and sit there. And I'm not saying go watch, but just be conscious of it. And you go watch what everybady's doing. They're buying crankbaits, they're buying chatterbaits, they're buying traps. Like, what are they buying? They're buying lizards or something to drag. Or that's how you know. Yesterday, there's no co-anglers in the opens anymore. Everybody in there was buying the same thing, and they're all boaters or pros.
That's true. Yeah. And so I always go back because what do you bring up to these like BASS, MLF, and NPFL? Well, they're getting sponsor money from electronic things, and this isn't an electronic thing. This is just what it is. But when you go to them and you're like, well, we need viewers, we want viewers. That's their biggest thing is viewers. And then all of a sudden it's like the viewers like, I saw this already. I know how they're going to so BPT might be killing it right now. I don't know. I mean, if Wheeler's over there flipping or doing whatever, this is probably a good thing. I don't know what he's doing. Someone said that he was flipping or whatever. But it's not a good thing when it becomes very, it's all the same.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
And so it affects it. It's not just, it's affecting one bait. It's affecting tackle stores' money, then the sponsor money towards tournaments, and then tournaments towards payout to anglers. And then all of a sudden you have this decline of a whole bunch of things. And so Wheeler is flipping a creature bait, whereas it moved on me. And so, yeah, Wheeler's flipping, and that's cool. So you're like, okay, you can still go and I don't know. And like a guy says, there are 321 guys watching right now. There'll be freaking 10,000 people that watch this in the next 2 days.
Oh, I mean, and nobody's ever questioned Wheeler. I mean, that guy had been catching them since he's been doing it. I mean, I said Wheeler was. This was going to make it easier for Wheeler to win Angler of the Year by them doing this. I agree with that.
He's never been in the contention of we can only do he was freaking winning with it.
I like Michael Neal too. That guy can straight up fish too.
I just like I said, I don't care where it goes. I just don't like it when it starts going the wrong direction. And when I see participation down in tournaments, it's going in the wrong direction. 1,000,000% it is. Now for my YouTube and stuff like that, it's freaking doing awesome because people I'm doing other stuff.
The Open will be the only full tournament that fishes Rayburn this year. There will be no other tournament that's maxed out, even more close to the number of boats.
I agree.
Maxed. That's crazy.
And I don't. Well, okay. Well, how about this? How many were in the TXTT? Did you?
I think I saw on Facebook that there was 400 people, so 200 teams, which that's probably the best one in a year or two.
No, it's not.
It's been pretty bad.
Yeah, it has been. But Brandon Belt was
okay, yeah, but still, man. Even his Grand Slam last year, we were at Santee Cooper fishing the Open, but dude, the Grand Slam wasn't. I mean, not what people expected it to be, and they caught him fishing shallow in that deal.
I don't know why Clay's getting all the love, but I'm sorry when you put stuff up there. When you put, I've been saying this to everyone, is that man, regardless of what you think, Like I said, it doesn't, and I'm being honest about it here. It doesn't matter if it's forward facing sonar. It could be every boat being 150,000, right?
Yeah.
If all boats went up to 150,000 and baits went up to $30 a bait, it would make a whole bunch of people quit fishing, right? So whatever it is, money, whatever, because it's not the economy. I don't care what anyone says. They can argue with me about the economy all day long. Every single person I know that fished 5 years ago still has a boat. So it ain't about the economy. I know the economy, when it's better, it helps a little bit, but this is a different deal. But Clay, he's like, yeah, man, he just went back to doing whatever. And that's a lot of people will do that, will leave. A lot of people will just leave. And let me tell you something. You want to answer this one? High School Series has 300 plus this year on Rayburn.
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah.
I'm talking.
Tell them what that used to have.
Oh gosh, what 500-600?
500. It used to have over 500. So 300 plus is a giant drop off.
But I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, that is a big turnout. But I'm talking like non-college or high school.
Yeah, but that's not a big turnout. Not when it was 500. Yeah. It's all relative, right?
You couldn't buy a spot. You couldn't buy a spot on Rayburn. God, if they were out there, worse than the Big Bass Splash sometimes. And I get fired up to fish too. I'm going to be there regardless. I'm not complaining. I
know. That's the funny thing is that
I like forward facing sonar. I mean, I like using it. It's a tool in the toolbox, like Ish said. Oh, 500.
I'll get into that. The thing is like I'm fishing. This next weekend is my only weekend I kind of have off. Other than that, I have a tournament till June every weekend. Every one of them I'm fishing. I don't worry about me. Like everyone. So I try to tell people me and you are not the ones that they should cater to ever. So tournaments should not be catered to me and you because we're going to fish them. It needs to be catered to the guys that are on the fence, and that's my whole point to a lot of that stuff is like you cater to those guys because you want those guys getting in them. And if those guys leave, yeah, we're not going anywhere, but there's only 50 of us. I don't know why my wife just showed up. Y'all are supposed to be in the school. Half day.
Well, a half day.
It's Friday.
Hey, don't be coming on in here. I'm working on stuff. Don't.
Hey, Brittany.
Hi. How are you?
Man, this was supposed to be my fun day, Todd Day fun day. Get out of here. Y'all brought me some candy. You want to say hi? Hey, so who's that?
Hey.
Don't
you dare.
Hey, I gotta go, but let's tell what story do we want to do?
Oh, which one?
Okay.
I like the boo one. I like
yeah. Okay. Do you remember this, Michael? Okay, so where's it? Okay. So let's tell this story and let's do it. So
Michael, you gotta stay in here. You gotta stay in
here.
Yeah,
you gotta stay in here. So start. So tell them the year. What was the year? What year was this? Hold on. What year is this?
I can't remember. Was it 2022 or 23?
Probably around 2022.
Is it Blake?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Blake. Yeah, you know who he is, but hold on. So 2022, go ahead.
So this is the BFL, right?
Yes.
So I want on Sam Raymond, I won a BFL and Todd got second. Right? Is second?
Yeah, I got second.
And
why are you laughing? Quit laughing.
Oh,
hush. Be quiet. Golly.
I won a BFL. Todd got second. And we were traveling together. Did we go to Dardanelle? Was it Dardanelle? We were
Red
somewhere.
River?
Yeah, it might have been Red River, somewhere like that. We were traveling, or was it? It might have been Ross Barnett. Regardless, we were traveling together somewhere, and Todd was FaceTiming the kids and Brittany, and Michael was in his room, and he has Todd's second place trophy. Todd goes, Michael, you know who beat me in that tournament? He goes, who? He goes, Blake. Can you show me a picture? He goes, boo.
I remember.
Man, we started laughing.
And
so to this day, to this day, he's like, "Who's that?" And if he won't say it again, but if I'm like, I'll be like, "That's Blake." Blake will go, "Boo!" It was good. No, Michael, that was funny. So, anyways, that's great, man. We got another story. We'll tell the other story, the frisbee story, another time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, hey, that water was cold, wasn't it, Michael?
He don't even like. I ain't listening.
He's like,
I ain't listening to that guy anymore. All right. Well, good luck tomorrow.
I appreciate it, man.
Hopefully, you all.
Yeah, hopefully we get to make 2 days out of it. But if it's
Hopefully
one
make 2
day,
days.
we'll see. It's out of my control, and we'll roll with it.
All right. Well, you got anything? You gonna wish him luck tomorrow? No. He's not gonna invite you to his house anymore.
I'll just come with you.
You'll just come with me? I might not invite you. Remember, he makes good cookies. He can't remember, see?
What do you mean?
And you get to go swimming over there and play with the dog and yeah.
Cold in the water.
Fall in the water? Yep, there you go.
So cold in the water.
It was cold, I know.
There's a little preview of the story.
Yeah. All right.
All right, I'm out. See ya.
We'll see you.